Good morning and welcome to the EFEX Conference 2019. I would like to thank you for joining us here today to discuss the future of energy in the heart of Europe in Brussels. And even in the heart of Europe, pretty much in the center. Very nice location. I'm very glad that you found it. I know there are multiple entrances to multiple events. Very glad you found us here. And throughout the day, you'll see we'll have a lot of opportunity to engage also, to interact. I hope it will be an interesting conversation. I wanted to, first of all, thank our sponsors who made this conference possible. First of all, the European Commission, and then also our company sponsors who are supporting us here today. One of them is Gikon Grossmann Ingenieur Consulting. It's a group of engineering and consulting companies from Germany. Then is also Econext, a company builder and green business catalyst and social innovator. And then we have Strategic Microgrid. They design and develop and build the renewable energy solutions for the emerging microgrid market. You'll hear more about them later throughout the day. I also wanted to say a warm thank you to our partners here for the day. There are many of them. I just list a few of them. One is the Regulatory Assistance Project. Then we have the Renewable Energy Hamburg Cluster. We have the Buildings Performance Institute Europe and Think Films. Very grateful for all your support in getting this conference together. Of course, I also want to thank our media partner, Clean Energy Wire, or CLU as they're also known. They'll be also here throughout the day and will also interview people, so speakers can be already forewarned about them as well, running around here. And last but not least, I would like to thank, of course, all my colleagues from the EFEX project team. They really made this conference possible, and I think it's a great team, so thank you all for putting this together. Now, I want to introduce Monika Zimmermann, our moderator for the day. I'm very glad that you made it here, and of course, you're known to many people in your former role as the Deputy Secretary General of ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability. You have a long career path in sustainability and are an expert for urban energy and urban sustainability. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and thank you also for guiding us through the whole day. I'm very happy to have you here, and I'll just hand over to you right away. Thank you, Monika.
Thank you very much for that nice welcome. I will try to do my best, give a particular welcome to all participants and to the 17 speakers. And this already indicates, I think, the challenge what we have ahead, to let everybody speak and to allow enough time for interaction. We convene to discuss and hopefully advance in decarbonizing our economy, our consumption, travel behaviors, and our lifestyles in general. And I think this is one of the most pressing and urgent discussion of these days. And what a timing, actually. A few days after the biggest pro-climate protests I think we have seen in the world, and at the start of the UN Climate Week in New York, I guess you have seen some news last night. EFEX, the Energy Future Exchange, is a 2-year project engaging civil society in the US and EU on topics which are fundamental to global energy transition. And when we reflect why US and Europe and why we as activists in these areas have reasons to change. Why? While most of the, meanwhile, the most carbon-intensive energy generation plants are built in developing countries and in countries of emerging economies. That's one truth. But the consumption level, and thus the CO2 emissions in the industrialized countries, and this is what EU and US stands for, are still by far over average. Just to give you a few figures, from the year 2016 about the CO2 emissions per capita in tons. On top of that list, which you have certainly seen, is Qatar with 30. The US on rank 5 has 15 tons. Netherlands, which is the first European country in that list, on rank 9 has 9 tons, so 30, 59. China is there with 6.5 and India with 1.5 tons. And many of the African countries would be even below. So there is a huge responsibility of us in the industrialized countries to discuss the reduction of these CO2 emissions, the reduction of the energy consumption, and the exchange to different types of energy systems, and I would say different types of economies also. A transatlantic cooperation and exchange is from particular interest because I have seen all over my business professional life that exchange between Europe and Africa, between Europe and Asia, even Latin America was rather easy to get funded and to get organized. The transatlantic cooperation with Canada and the US was always a particular challenge, and this is why it's so great that this project exists, and I would like to express a thank to the organizers, the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy. So now for today we have 3 core topics which the organizers selected. This is about integrating renewable energies into the energy system as such. I think we will hear about that, opportunities and certainly also challenges. It's about energy efficiency, also as a catalyst for innovation, and sustainable mobility. I think that's a little bit lesser represented today, but it's relevant for the EFEX project as such. You know, the EFEX project has hosted conferences, study tours, webinars, and so on, and I think a particular welcome to those who are part of the current study tour, and I would also extend here a very particular warm welcome to those who are not coming either from the US or from Europe, but even from third countries. And you are all coming from a variety of countries. You represent startup, NGOs, people with public offices, foundations, institutions, and so on. And we will have guests from the European Commission, which of course play a very particular role here in Europe. We have 3 parts of the day, as you have seen in the program, and each part, discover, engage, act, each part has different types of methodologies, let's say like that. You hear presentations, 2 panels, and in the middle a series of 11 interviews parallel to lunch. It's intensive. We have not so much time, and the intention of this is that you all get in contacts with the speakers among yourselves. So let's try that also. We have so many people who want to share something with us. There will be enough time to discuss also that. My recommendation is that if you have a question to a speaker, or maybe later even to another participant, put it down on paper, be extremely brief and bring it to the point, and then we see how much of these we can allow to be expressed here. So I would say let's go to the first and introductory presentation. This is a little bit longer than the others, so don't think that the length of the keynote determines the length of all the other presentations. Jan Rosenow, he is in the Regulatory Assistance Project REP. And that's an independent, non-partisan, non-governmental organization, right? Dedicated to accelerating the transition to a clean, reliable, and efficient energy future. He will certainly explain to us what you mean with all that. Efficiency first, and the European energy transition is your topic, and please introduce us to all what we are going to discuss today. Thank you.